Taxation is the foundation of any country's economy, and Nigeria is no exception. Taxes provide vital government revenue, which is used to fund essential services like infrastructure, healthcare, and education. A solid and effective tax system is necessary for economic growth and long-term stability. This was the focus of various speakers at the recently concluded Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria Dinner Awards ceremony in Lagos, where deserving Nigerians were honored for their monumental achievements as exceptional leaders whose contributions have significantly shaped Nigeria's economic development. In his opening address, the Institute's president, Samuel Agbeluyi, emphasized the Institute's role in the country's taxation system. He also maintained that the tax reformation bill targeted at developing Nigeria's economy is in the pipeline.
Let me reiterate the position of CITN concerning the Economic Stabilization Bill that is in the National Assembly. We say it again as an institute. It's a thing the bill ought to have come some several years ago. There is better late than never. So we appreciate the President who set up the committee, and we also appreciate the committee that has brought the report that is in the National Assembly. We also appreciate the comments going on around the bill. Nigeria is a democratic nation. We do well by the time we do a lot of dialogue. Whether you are on the left side or you are on the right side, doesn't matter. What matters is that people must talk. People must assess the bill. And at the end of the day, the focus is that we have a better document that will serve this nation for a very long time to come.
While appreciating the recognition bestowed on him by the Institute, the Attorney General of the Federation, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, who graced the occasion as the special guest of honor, boasted the need for tax in every economy, emphasizing that any country that failed to generate revenue through taxation is doomed.
I'm happy about the synergy between the CITN and ICAN. Perfect. And I pray and hope that it will continue. Any country that closes its eyes to tax or taxation is doomed. Countries exist without oil, no gas, no natural resources except tax and taxation. And they fare well more than some countries with these abundant natural resources. That is where we started from. That is where we will return. And it is important that we bring this or take this on board from now on. It is very, very essential.
While expressing gratitude to the organizers for inviting him as the guest of honor, Prince Adebayo, the 2023 Social Democratic Party presidential candidate, agreed with the Attorney General that the importance of taxation in every economy cannot be overemphasized. Adebayo further made recommendations on what the government should consider as they try to reform the country's taxation system.
I will say 5 things to encourage you in the work that you are doing. To know that the work you are doing is important to the country. And there are many ways in which you can help us to be a better society. Because taxation is not just a revenue. Taxation can be used to set the value for the country. You can give incentives to activities which you want people to engage in. You can use taxation to distribute and redistribute wealth in society, to make society more equitable. You can use taxation as a fillip, as a stimulus to grow the economy when there is crisis. And you can use taxation to discipline us when we are misbehaving in any aspect of our life. Taxation can be used to control inflation and to manage public expenses. More importantly, taxations can be used to better the lives of citizens by provision of infrastructure and social services. And taxation is so important in history that the history of the world and the distribution of power in the world has been because of the activities of experts like you. China today is regarded as one of the most organized societies. But if you study the history of the Mandarins, the best tax collectors in human history are part of those who call the Mandarin in China for over 4,000 years. And a society that has a good tax system will have hard-working citizens, because the real wealth of a country is when the citizens of that country or the residents of that country work, and they work enough and they can spare some contribution to the society. I will leave you with 5 things that I think will help you will use to help us as we are becoming more democratic. 1, that taxation, which used to be imposed as a result of war and conquest, is now a democratic exercise in Nigeria. So, whether tax is high or low, fair or unfair, it is not your responsibility. Because even though it is your profession, you do not impose taxes. Taxes are imposed by the representative of the people, whom the people elect to the National Assembly or State Assembly or local council to go and make laws on their behalf. So you have no guilt for excessive taxation, small taxation, or fair taxation. But you have a responsibility to use your expertise to advise those who are responsible for fiscal policy and taxation. Second thing is that, just like my senior brother, the Attorney General, said, you need taxation to grow in society, and you cannot make omelets without breaking eggs. But the second question is this: if you are breaking eggs and people are not seeing the omelet, they will start to wonder, where are these eggs going? And that is the question that the people ask us who have responsibility for managing their resources. Thirdly, I want us to understand that the taxman is the most honest man in society. And I have one of you in my family, Mrs. Adeoti. She was known as Mrs. Bamuwayi Adeoti. She retired as a Deputy Director, Collection, and Deputy Director, Assessment in Inland Revenue. She was responsible for collections of billions of naira for the Nigerian government, but she retired only on her pension. She had no money to spare and no assets in her life. So there are many people in your profession who have built countries, who have made us to build universities, space programs, hospitals, but you live on modest income, only God will reward you. The third thing I will say is that taxation can be used to build, and taxation can be used to destroy. It is your responsibility to advise those who are responsible for taxation that higher revenue is not the only success story. Higher revenue that will kill industries, that will kill initiative, and that will leave people pauperized is not. But if you moderate the management of taxation, the imposition of levies, there will be disposable income to use in developing the country. The taxpayer is like a person who is a blood donor. When you call a blood donor to the hospital to donate blood, you do not drain all the blood in the body so that the blood donor will die. So we need you to give us expertise. Fourth thing I will say is that the way Nigeria is going today, every discussion about the nature of our federation, about the structure of our government, about the amount of people or the number of people we are going to have in government relates to taxation. Because you are not a government until you have the power to tax. And when we had regional government, most of the revenue was from the region. And now in Nigeria we are discussing every day as to the nature of our federation. Some are talking about true federalism, some are talking about going to parliamentary system, all kinds of permutations. In recent times, there was a push to localize the economy, to give more powers to local government to collect revenue. I want you to remember that you serve all the three arms of government. You serve the local government because if they have enough ability to receive revenue, they will solve most of the problems that we are now federalizing, which are best solved in the local communities. When I live in the US where I work, I pay city tax, I pay county tax, I pay state tax before I pay federal tax. And each of those levels of government have about the same level of expertise. So I want many of your members not just to work for the federal government, to also work for the lower levels of governance. And the last point I will make here is that your expertise is not only to the tax collector or to the authorities that live it. Your expertise is also for the taxpayer. You need to give expertise to those who pay taxes to ensure that they are not exploited, they are not given prohibited taxes, and that nobody is harassed out of their business or their livelihood because of bad tax collection and tax practices. All over the world, when you want to start a business, you get a lawyer, you get an accountant, the next thing you get is a tax advisor. And the duty of that is to see that this tax you are collecting does not belong to the government alone, it belongs to all of us. Those who are in government today will become taxpayers tomorrow.
While speaking with KAFTAN TV correspondent, the awardees, CITN fellows, and participants expressed gratitude for the recognition bestowed on them. They also showed their excitement towards a successful event and what the occasion stood for.
It's a way of recognizing and appreciating people. You see, to whom much is given, much is expected. As a Yoruba man, when it's those days that you live for, that your society, your association, the community recognizes what you have brought to develop the system, and you are recognized as such. So it is fulfillment.
The event was made lively with different displays ranging from cultural dance to other forms of entertainment. Ezekiel Ogre, reporting for KAFTAN Television News.